Board will reconvene into open session. It's approximately 7:30, and we thank you guys for your patience for being here. Announcements of items in closed session or any actions taken, none to report at this time. Move on to item G, and this is comments from the public. The board will take any and all comments from the public related to an item on the agenda or any other item of district business that is not on the agenda. Let's begin with Ms. Mendoza.
I'm going to address the proposal again. The current proposal, as I said earlier, isn't a raise, but it's a pay cut. I feel confident that this proposal did not come from the board directly, but it is your fiduciary duty to protect the best interests of this district. The current salary schedule and proposed raise has the best and brightest running for other districts, and many of them haven't figured this out. But in the next week, they're going to figure it out. Let's start with the current pay comparison. I went over it very quickly with you, but I gave the worst case scenario. $14,500 is family insurance coverage that our teachers will have to pay. Because I looked at someone who has a family right now, and the district's W-2 said that they paid $24,500 for his coverage. You subtract the $10,000 allowance you're going to give him, that means he's going to have to pay $14,500 per pay period. That is huge. That's $1,450 per pay period. Now let's look and see, have some teachers already figured it out? Yes, they have. If you look at EdJoin, all you have to do is see how many job postings there are. Currently, Calexico has 8 teacher positions currently open. One is for multiple teachers. El Centro has 2, Brawley Elementary has 3, Heber has 1. All the other school districts have 0. As part of this schedule that I gave you, I hope you take some time, but I looked at a teacher who has 10 years experience here. They are making $78,000 right now. If they went to El Centro Elementary, they'd be making $12,000 more. Yes, about $11,000 would go in health insurance. If they went to Central Union High School, almost $18,000. Yes, anywhere. I don't know anything about their health insurance, but maybe $14,000. But still, they're almost making $4,000 more going to Central Union High School District. Imperial, again, at least $4,000. They would be making $17,000, almost $18,000 more on the pay schedule. Brawley Union High School, 21. Elementary, almost 22. And where this makes a huge difference is in their retirement. So this is huge. $21,000 more per year on your retirement could equate anywhere from $10,000 to $21,000 more per year on your retirement. This is huge, and that's at 10 years. That's not at 30.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Mendoza. Next speaker, Jennifer Lopez.
Hi. Again, I usually don't come to board meetings, but today I get to speak twice. I'm Jennifer Lopez, not only English 12 teacher, but if you don't know, I am the head varsity softball coach. It's a very unique position, sitting there and hearing this disposition of players that I value. Okay, every single one of them here, I believe, was a core component of the team. And like they said, they all have their experience, and they have their experience, but I also want you to take in account that every certificated teacher who puts themselves in a position for an extra assignment, it's because of the love for our students. You take away the time from your own family to always put students first. And their main concern here was saying, well, Calexico never wins. Well, I'll tell you that's exactly why I wanted to coach. Because I, as well as some of my coaches sitting here or some of my teachers sitting here, know that I was a triathlete. And it's frustrating when in this community you don't win. And it's frustrating when you hear that teammates are leaving to another school. So I came in trying to find that piece of the puzzle. And it's not this is not the platform or the position to go back and forth, but I do invite all of you who don't know me to come to practice or to have this conversation, because there's never a solution to something that is never spoken about on an open table. It was my first year. The coach before me, Jerry Niebla, Coach Flores before me, can all attest to the same roller coaster events that first year coaches have. And yes, maybe there wasn't a line of other players out here, but there's a lot of people sitting in this boardroom that knows exactly who I am. I don't have to defend myself. I don't have to explain my character or what I am about. There's many people sitting here that knows it. That's superintendent, that's directors, that's colleagues, that's ex-teachers, that's students. So there's no way that I go from Coach Lopez in the classroom to Coach Lopez on the field. So I do invite that we find a solution to the needs of our student body. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Next speaker, Maria Bravo.
Good evening. My name is Maria Bravo. I am the CSCA Chief Union Steward for Calexico Unified Chapter 399. I'm going to address the report on the maintenance and operations study. I must agree with one point on the report, and that is that this district is reactive instead of being proactive. We have done that for many, many years. I've been here for 20 years. When I started, we used to have one maintenance and operations director, 3 supervisors. 2 supervisors were maintenance supervisor and 1 transportation supervisor. And we used to also have 1 facilities director. During that time, we did not have the facilities of the Cesar Chavez, did not exist at that time. Enrique Camarena did not exist at that time. The new Rockwood wing did not exist at that time. We are understaffed. That is very true. We are understaffed completely all the way from the supervisor to the employees. How do you expect for these employees to come above and beyond and to maintain these facilities and these classrooms if they are understaffed? We do not have that manpower. Just walk outside this building and one of those pillars is coming apart. And this is a presentation of Calexico Unified. And even this building isn't even being maintained. Just recently, you added new carpet, new painting, the same thing with the other offices down the hall. But after how many years? You need to focus on the facilities. And mind you, I've been here 20 years, and every time we have a new school board, we have a new facilities master plan. You keep spending money on facilities master plan over and over and over. Stick to one plan and make it a project for 10 years. Modify it. Yes, modify it. But don't go out and spend money on consultants to create a new facilities master plan. Those money should be addressed elsewhere. Facilities, salaries, and health and welfare benefits. Another thing, I do agree also with the study that you must promote from within. What is the benefit promoting from within? The staff knows the facility. The staff knows the history. No one who comes from outside will know all of these things. There is no way. The only thing that person is going to come and do is consult, consult, and consult, and those dollars are leaving Calexico. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bravo. Next speaker, Jason Jung.
Hello. I usually don't come to these school board meetings. I don't particularly know what's going on, nor do I really care. But it sounds like all these teachers here are pissed off at you guys. And, you know, the lady that just spoke, man, she hit the head on the nail. I mean, this is off topic of what I'm going to tell you in a minute, but you should run for council, whoever you were, because you're very, very smart and you know what you're talking about. We need people like you on the city council. Because it sounds like Calexico is still in the school board level has this compadrismo thing where you guys are just sticking your own people in here and doing your own thing. And it's a reflection of the city, how corrupt it is over there. As a matter of fact, I was at this podium 2-3 years ago because of one of your school staff members picking and bullying a kid. I don't come to these meetings because I'm bored or because I want to be here. I don't want to be here right now, to tell you the truth. I'm here because of these two parents being harassed by a school support staff. After listening to the teachers, it's like, wow, that's sad, what they're going through. But then at the other hand, I think it's like, how do you have a school staff member treat a mother that's pregnant, 5 months along, worse than you would treat a dog? She went to go enroll her kid and find out the status of it. She walks into the office. The secretary tells her, you could wait outside on the bench at Rockwood Elementary. You know what? If I take my dog outside to walk in this heat, most likely I'm going to have somebody yell at me or I'm going to have the cops pull me over for animal cruelty. A pregnant mother is kicked out of the office by a secretary. That is just wrong. You guys need to look into this and teach that clerical staff person on how to treat people with common courtesy and respect. And you guys should respect your teachers. Seriously respect them and give them what they want. Because if you lose them, you're going to lose your future at Calexico. And stop all this backdoor deal you guys, sounds like you guys are having. Because all these people are here are just wanting one thing, to teach these kids. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Jung. Next speaker, Mayra Miramontes.
Buenas tardes, somos los papás de Ibelis de la Paz. La semana pasada, bueno, esto ya tiene desde el año pasado. Mi esposa ha tenido percances con la secretaria de la escuela de la Rockwood. Ahorita ella les va a explicar lo que pasó el año pasado.
Pedí la petición el año pasado de cambio de escuela, me la autorizaron y cuando asistí la secretaria me dijo que no había lugar. Y después volví y regresé y hablé con él, que era el antiguo director, no el de ahorita, y el director me la aceptó, pero ella insistía que no había lugar. Y entonces el director le dijo que abriera las listas y que apuntara a la niña, porque el que manda es él, no ella. Este año volví a meter la petición porque me dijeron que la misma secretaria me dijo que tenía que volver a meter la petición para la niña, pero ya antes ya me había dicho que ya no era necesario meter petición porque ya la niña ya era parte de la escuela, porque ya son 4 años que la niña está ahí desde el kinder y ahora va a pasar a 4º año. Volví a meter petición, me la autorizaron. Pero antes yo hablé con el director y el director me dijo que en sus manos no estaba nada por hacer, que él no podía hacer nada, que lo que me dio a entender que lo que mandaba ella era la que mandaba, porque ella es su mano derecha. Pero yo no entiendo cuál es el problema que tiene ella conmigo, porque son varias veces que he asistido y su palabra no es de, ocupa algo señora, buenas tardes señora, es, ¿qué pasó señora? Y no la forma correcta. No sé cuál es el problema que tenga hacia mí o hacia mi hija, no entiendo. Y esta vez el director me habló, me dijo que sí tenía lugar en la escuela y la semana pasada asistimos, el director me habló, me dijo que viniera de 1 a 3, pero ella no nos volteó a ver la cara y nos dijo que si queríamos esperar al director lo esperáramos afuera. Era la 1 de la tarde y yo tenía a mis niños en el brazo
Y la verdad no nos quiso dar la cara a ella, nos hizo así, que si nos queríamos esperar, que lo esperáramos afuera. Y en ese momento mi esposo dijo, pues si la dirección está vacía, porque no podemos sentarnos. Y en eso llegó el director y nos pasó. Pero la verdad, pues, no sé cuál sea su problema que ella tenga con uno. Yo no quiero, porque mi hija va a seguir asistiendo en esa escuela y yo no quiero que tenga ese trato todo el tiempo, porque pues es incómodo. Porque mi hija quiere asistir a esa escuela porque están sus amigos y que ella mande, pues no es correcto. Se supone que es la decisión del director, no de ella. No sé, el director va a hablar de ellas maravillas, la verdad. Pero la verdad el que trato que da ella es muy malo.
Gracias. Gracias. All right. We'll continue with item H. This will be our presentations. We'll begin with H1, CalFresh Healthy Living Program updates and current year upcoming projects.
How's it going? So I'm going to keep this brief, just because I know there's time. So I'm Chris Wong. Last year we came and signed an MOU with you guys, and I just wanted to come and provide an update update of everything we did last year, and to let you guys know our plans for next year. So hopefully, if any of teachers are in here and are interested in nutrition education, we have some free resources for you guys available. What is CalFresh Healthy Living? We are a SNAP-Ed, federally funded program. It used to be called food stamps. And what we do is we go into classrooms, we do nutrition education, we give teachers curriculum to work with. We install PE programs. We install that playground stencil over at the kindergarten in Jefferson. We do teacher trainings for the PE program that we have. We do staff workshops for the cafeteria. We're also on the school wellness committee, and we're helping you guys update your policy. We also work with Mr. Gilbert Venegas to assess the cafeterias through the Smarter Lunchrooms movement. We also have a youth-led participatory action research club, wherein the students at Calexico High School research issues in their community, and then they gather data, and hopefully one day they can present it to you all. Also working with the CT, Miss Betty Nunez, with the Careers with Children's class that she has that goes out to different daycares and kindergartens around the city. And we have a 4-H Teens as Teachers Cooking Academy with Chef Nunez. That's the nutrition education at Jefferson Elementary. We use gardening to enhance the nutrition classes that we give. We have kids there. Let's see, do we have a pointer? That's at Jefferson. We have first grade, and then we have kids from Dual attending the cooking academy at the high school, and then this is Maine's Elementary. We want to take the nutrition curriculum that we have to the rest of the campuses. I'm just one person and I have to go to the entire county, so it's a little bit difficult. But we want to work off an extended model. We can give this to you guys, and the teachers can use it. All we need to do is survey to see if the program works or not. We also have a physical activity program. It's called Catch PE. It's the coordinated approach to child health. It's a new style of PE where mostly it's games. The kids play. They don't realize they're working on their fundamental physical abilities as they're having fun. It's not like go out and run laps or do push-ups to meet the PFT. We also have a learner-based, learner-centered, inquiry-based, learner-centered experiential PE program, which we might pilot at Dual Elementary this school year. This is what that PE, so the teacher trainings, we train the teachers on how to incorporate the PE program. This is, the bottom right is at Finley Elementary, then bottom left, Dogwood, and then Meadows. So we scheduled one of these for Jefferson Elementary, and we had it last year, although we didn't take any pictures that day. So we'll go into the classrooms, we'll schedule a training, give the teachers free equipment. We give them the big old thick binder with a bunch of games that they can play with the kids. And then after we do the training, this is what it looks like in real time with the kids. This is the kindergarten class, I think Miss Lee at Jefferson. And it's basically so that the kids don't get left out of regular old PE. Back if you're playing soccer or basketball, there might be two kids that take over and dominate, and there's always kids in PE that don't get to participate. So this gets all the kids moving, and they're all active at all times. So we're all over the county. We're working with an extender model, so we search for volunteer teachers. We're not trying to force our curriculum onto you guys. We don't want to create extra work for you, so only volunteer teachers. And we can also help you guys set up gardens. We have 19 gardens now. And this is what the stencil project looks over at Jefferson. We also sit on your school wellness committee, and we're helping you guys update the policy. The 2020 triennial assessment is coming up for you guys, and we're using the WellSat 3.0 tool to grade the policy, and then we're going to assess the implementation of the policy at Jefferson through the Shaping Healthy Choices. There's an assessment tool that we're going to incorporate. Mostly because the reason why we're doing this is because we have the highest obesity rate in the state and the highest child food insecurity rate in the nation. So we have a lot of people who are hungry after school, and we have a lot of people who are not eating the right types and amounts of food. And so it's leading to a health disparity that's, not something to be proud of necessarily. We also work with the Smarter Lunchrooms movement. So we go into the cafeterias, we assess the cafeteria, we try to rebrand it and work with the marketing inside of it so that the kids increase the consumption of fruits and vegetables and decrease waste. And we've scheduled, I think, every single school except for Blanche Charles because it's not on our list. We go to SNAP-Ed funded sites. I'm almost close to my time. This is the youth-led participatory action research club with Chef Nunez, where they're growing a lot of they grew broccoli and cauliflower, peppers and tomatoes this year. They advocated for the district to apply for the farm to school grant through the USDA, and I think that you guys qualify for anywhere between 20 to 100K to expand existing edible food gardens or to procure local food from farmers. And we also want to get some of the kids to sit on the wellness committee to influence the policy. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one right here. Let's go back. That's the 4-H Scenes as Teachers Cooking Academy. We bring students from Dual, and they learn how to cook for themselves with Chef Nunez's help and the rest of his students. There's a great article in the IB Press that came out, and we want to expand this into the rest of the schools as well. It's a really fun program, and the kids, I think, benefit a lot. I'm going to wrap this up. We're also working with the Careers with Children's class. These students right here go to the kinders, and they extend our curriculum, and we give them trainings as well. And then that's it. Thank you guys very much, and I'll update you guys regularly throughout the year. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. So I know, I think yourself and the program have done a great job, with the projects and activities at sites. And I'm thinking right now, certainly the high school, there's certainly construction happening at that site. There's probably having been some movement maybe, but I think we do want to continue that positive relationship and work with you and see what we can accommodate at that site and the other sites to continue. This is a great program, so I know, and I think on behalf of the board, we thank you for this and the work you're doing and hope to continue supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll continue with item I. This is our consent agenda. All items appearing will be acted upon by one motion without discussion unless an item is pulled for separate consideration and action.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Romero. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a question. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And we have one absence. Mr. Ciro Calderon's away from the room at this point. Motion passes 4-0. We'll move on to item, let's see here, 8J. J1. We'll begin with superintendent's report.
All right, good evening, everybody. Just want to give an update on the welcome back keynote and the professional development that we had. We had all of our certificated and classified staff in attendance at our welcome back on Tuesday, August the 20th at the Calexico High School Varner Gym. It was wonderful to see our staff full of energy and excited about the start of the new school year. We had an amazing keynote speaker, Mr. Chris Ulmer, who gave a very touching and emotional address to all of our staff on the power of acceptance. I want to thank our staff for putting together a highly structured professional development day. We had training from outside agencies, neighboring districts, and our very own, very highly qualified staff. The Professional Development Day was a total success, with staff choosing to attend 3 different sessions. And the way it's scheduled is it's conference style, so they get to choose wherever staff wants to go to. We received many compliments regarding the quality and rigor of the training that was being offered, and excellent feedback on the keynote speaker. Again, thank you to our team for putting together such a comprehensive welcome back keynote and professional development day. Another news, we launched our very first district-wide newsletter using Constant Contact. So a lot of you that are here, I'm sure that you received an email. So our goal is to send it out periodically and to communicate the great successes and accomplishments that are happening throughout the district. So please do expect more of these newsletters to come your way. And then just some quick updates. Today was our teacher check-in day. Tomorrow we will be having district-wide professional development in the area of curriculum planning. And then August 21st, 26th, that's it. That's our first day of school. So we're incredibly excited about the new school year. We have our students and our parents equally very excited. And we have assigned district administrators to every school site to support and make sure that everything runs as smooth as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Let's move on to item J2, a Measure V update. Do we have an update? Yes, sir.
Good evening, board members, community members, teachers, and everybody else in the room. My name is John Dominguez. I'm the president of School Site Solutions, and my company is assisting your school district with Measure V projects and a few other projects. I'd like to update you on the facilities and the progress of 5 of your projects that are happening right now. Project B1, we call it Project B1. This was the Calexico High School Culinary Arts Academy. We have completed the asbestos abatement. The demolition is complete. We have a few HVAC housing units that need to come out, but I'm calling it complete because the contractor is going to be on that tomorrow. The temporary fencing is up on campus, which allows the construction to continue without disruption. It keeps also the site safe for the kids. The no-name field, one of the things that's going to happen at the start of school, so you're aware, and you probably have heard of this, that no-name field closure will start at the school at first day of school, because we need that area for staging. We're going to need that area for Project B1, and we're going to also need that area for the 12 and 16 modular classroom addition at the high school. So no-name field will not be open, and that parking lot also is going to be closed off. And so we're encouraging the staff and teachers to be, students to be parking over off of Ward Field where where's other parking available. That needs to happen, though, in order for our contractors to have ample room for staging of their equipment. Our construction schedule, again, it's a 6-month schedule. Completion is to happen February 2020 with students to move back into the modernized facility on 2020. We were in today, I'm in my work clothes still because I was in the classrooms helping the teacher that is the sewing teacher to get her room organized, and also with Chef doing some work with him also. Projects A2 and A3, Calexico High School 12 and 16 classroom modular project. We have DSA approval on the structural. We got that last week. That's been a big benefit, or a very important piece of this project for this district. Final access compliance is going to be approved, was approved today, and the final fire and life safety back check will happen next week. So we should have all 3 of those elements ready to go, and this project then will be able to get started. Our bid advertisement will follow after the DSA approval, September 3rd and September 10th. We have our pre-bid, that's the dates that we're running our ad, And then for the pre-bid conferences, we'll have the pre-bid conference job walk happening on September 12th at 9 o'clock in the morning. Our pre-qualifications has been advertised with the bidders. Again, we're going to be using that no-name field for the staging of this project. Students move out of their 7 existing relocatable classrooms on June 8th, 2020. They will then occupy the 16 classroom unit on August 2020, and then the student occupancy of the 12 classroom unit will happen in April 2021. That's our plan. The T-Mobile Cellular project is 95% complete. It will be completed by August 23rd. That's their deadline, 2019. The Verizon Cellular project is going to be completed on August 23rd, 2019 also. The air pollution paving grant, site work on the maintenance yard is complete. Paving on the staff parking lot started today. You probably saw some of the work out there happening right over here. The staff parking lot paving project will be completed in early September, and that one was not delayed. We had to change some things around because of the trenching that Verizon needed. So we had to back off of a couple of our activities on that project in order to allow Verizon to finish their project. And one of the things that we're going to need is a date for the ribbon cutting ceremony, and that's in the planning stages. Okay? Your Office of Public School Construction applications and the California Department of Education application. The OPSC applications are contingent upon the CDE approval. We have preliminary plan approval. I also have verbal confirmation from the Department of Education that they have received everything that they need for an approval. The issue is their workload. And so they have had an application there for quite some time. Today, I sent a nastygram. Well, I won't call it a nastygram. I sent an email to them asking for, why is this taking so long to get this project completed on their review. Once we get that project completed with their review, then I can submit everything to the Office of Public School Construction for projects B1, A2, and A3. Okay? So that's where we're at right now. Questions?
Any questions from the board?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's continue with item J3. This will be association comments, beginning with ACT. Anyone from ACT? Seeing none, let's continue with CSEA. Any comments from CSEA?
Buenas tardes, soy Belén Donato, Calexico 399 Chapter President. Supervisores, público en general, mesa directiva, buenas noches. Mi reporte como presidente de CSEA es con relación al estudio de Maintenance and Operations por Dixon Smart Schoolhouse. Puedo decir primero que nada que el estudio y sus resultados fueron en vano. Toda la información que proveen es algo que se conoce desde hace años. A varios board members aquí presentes que ejercitan sus funciones desde hace años, ya lo saben, lo sabían, porque se les ha estado diciendo. Es triste saber que se les pagó miles de dólares por escribir un reporte de información que estaba al alcance de sus manos. Era cuestión de hacer trabajo, de ir a preguntar a todos los participantes de este distrito, y yo en particular tengo años subiéndome a este podio, expresarles mis preocupaciones sobre estos problemas que se reflejan en ese estudio. No solo preocupaciones y problemas, sino también soluciones. Desgraciadamente todo ha sido tirado en un saco roto. Quiero sin ser experta, darles mi humilde opinión. Quiero comentar a los board members que el reflejo de este estudio es un mero ejemplo de cómo todos los departamentos de este distrito se encuentran. Podemos mencionar muchas faltas y tener una lista interminable. Podríamos culparnos unos a los otros y continuar haciendo estudios y gastando dinero del budget para hacer un concurso de departamentos de ver cuál es el peor. Al final, ¿qué ganamos? Creo que este distrito necesita una mesa directiva realmente interesada en los problemas de nuestras escuelas y de todo el sistema educativo local. La intención de un board member no es apuntar y buscar culpables, es buscar las mejores soluciones para todos concienzudamente. Creo que las decisiones del board son en gran medida un reflejo de lo que este estudio muestra hoy, failure. Lo que veo en este estudio por parte de CSEH es falta de interés hacia el empleado y falta de interés del board por hacer su trabajo de servicio a la comunidad. Las obligaciones de un board member son el servicio a la comunidad educativa en especial, priorizando y aprobando budgets que ayuden al mejoramiento de todo el sistema educativo local, no únicamente despilfarrar el dinero y aprobar gastos innecesarios. Es desarrollar pólizas que beneficien a la comunidad y a los miembros de este distrito, tener una visión que refleje las metas de la comunidad y el staff, entre muchas otras cosas. Un buen board member ayuda al distrito en el que sirven a su éxito, a su desarrollo de manera saludable. Por ejemplo, un pago justo a sus miembros y no quitarles sus beneficios médicos. Lo que vemos en esta mesa directiva es el reflejo de miembros que no investigan, no hacen su tarea, escuchan solo una versión de los hechos y no están dispuestos a hablar con la comunidad educativa y escuchar lo que piensa. Vemos a un board member aprobando sin ton ni son salarios estratosféricos a supervisores y negando beneficios básicos al resto de sus empleados. Todo lo que hacen con abogados, porque no se animan lo que es por ley y lo que les corresponde hacer. No les importa atender a la comunidad y escuchar y comunicarse con ella. Vemos board members listos para la foto, prestos a juzgar con furia, faltos de criterio y de responsabilidad al momento de tomar decisiones. Para eso usan a sus abogados. Donde todo se decide sin suficiente preparación, sin suficiente información de lo que están diciendo, sin pensar que afectan a cientos de familias con un simple y sencillo "ay". No necesitamos más políticos que sirvan en estas posiciones como base para su reconocimiento personal. No necesitamos gente que justifique su falta de responsabilidad diciendo que no tiene tiempo de investigar porque trabaja o porque tiene otras obligaciones que hacer. Esta posición requiere de gran responsabilidad. No necesitamos board members que sirvan el sistema colocando parientes y conocidos en posiciones importantes. Yo y el resto del distrito, junto con todo el staff, somos el reflejo de lo que ustedes aprueban y desaprueban, de lo que nos quitan y de lo que nos dan. Los tiempos de elecciones vienen y ahí nos veremos pronto. Gracias.
All right, thank you. Continuing with item J4, IVROP Committee Report.
Yes, good evening to everyone. We met last week. Actually, we were dark in July, so we met for the first time. They're eager to come and work for us and do wonderful things for our kids. We do have two career specialists assigned to Calexico High, which are Monica Lambrada and Cassandra Rivera. And these ladies are willing and to educate our kids in the career pathways or whatever they choose. Also, I was just informed that the Strong Force program update as far as the funding, and this grant was a grant money which is giving several schools in Imperial County funds for their CTEs. It's a total of $3,823,683,000, of which Calexico will be receiving $713,000. The monies have already arrived, so they'll be making contact with Mr. Vega. These funds are supposed to help improve our CTE classes at the Calexico High. And our IVROP also has several trainings. I've left some flyers on the desk there if anyone's interested. For example, CTE student leadership training, which takes place on September 18th. at Ricochet. Also, they're having the 4th Annual CTE Teacher Technical Assistant Workshop, which takes place on the 18th of September, and also it's at the Ricochet. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Calderon. Moving on to Ida, or continuing, Imperial County School Boards Association update, and I'll share just quickly. Likewise, county school boards, dark during the summer like many other programs, but as they're gearing up for this year's activities, there's a number of dates already planned. I'll send these to Ms. Burgos, kind of save the date, but as you know, they will be offering opportunities for school board members to participate in some professional development opportunities, growth, as well as networking opportunities. So October 23rd, first meeting will be at Southwest High School. In January, we will be at the Heber, having a chance to look at their new gymnasium, take a tour of that facility. And finally, wrapping up the year, April 29th, we'll have the opportunity to visit the new Cross Elementary School in Imperial, so we can walk through those facilities as board members. So again, I'll share these with Ms. Burgos, and we'll send them out. There's also a training survey that has been sent out, and I'm sure many of you have received that, or will see that soon. So that'll help with this year's activities. Now, with that said, we'll move on to item J5, board reports. These are informational. Safety. Oh, I'm sorry, Safety Committee.
Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to share a little bit of some of the safety trainings that we started before even kicking off the year with our students. ALICE training, we began the process of doing our ALICE training. This is for the intruder training. So on the day of professional development, we had our campus security team trained with ALICE. They did the e-learning module, and they actually had some scenarios, and they were trained by some of our own who have now become certified trainers. So that was about 25 campus security. We also had our food service ladies, and we have the e-learning module in Spanish. So with them, they did the module portion only. They didn't get to the practice of some of the scenarios, so we'll continue to work with them. And then at the sites that were different levels, some of them got to the e-learning modules. Others did a preview of what was coming up throughout the year. But eventually, everyone will do the e-modules, and then we'll do some practice scenarios. Our teachers will then be practicing with their students on the steps for ALICE. We also had, yesterday and today, we have our Ms. Huerta Price and Mr. Price are both certified instructors for the Nonviolent Crisis Prevention and Intervention, better known as NCPI. And between yesterday and today, they trained over 20 campus security. Throughout the year, we're going to be training our noon duty aides also, so you'll hear a little bit more about that. You're going to see in the agenda an MOU with the Sandy Hook Promise, and that's an evidence-based violence prevention program. So as part of the agreement, we are going to be receiving training on the safety assessment and intervention. And then in return, we're also going to be training every one of our students from TK all the way to 12th grade. ICOE now has a new safety and emergency coordinator, and they will be having a training on October 14 and or 15, depending on when we are picked, and that's also part of the Sandy Hook Promise, where we're going to receive our first safety and assessment intervention training. Our safety committee, our first safety committee is scheduled for September 27 from 1 to 3 here in the boardroom. I know that this past year I had Trustee Calderon Jr. and Trustee Calderon were part of my safety committee, and I just wanted to know if it was going to be our same members that are going to continue for this year. It's 4 safety meetings throughout the year, or if we're going to have some changes.
I'm willing to volunteer, but if someone wants to be part of it, I'm okay with it.
I'm okay if you guys do want me. I'm okay with the same 2 members.
Okay, then I will be sending invites for our meetings to both of you. And that's it. Thank you.
Can I make a suggestion?
Mhm.
I'm now part of the meeting, your committee again. Training for the secretaries and the sites, ALICE training. I know you train the proctors and everything at the high school, but I believe that training the secretaries at the sites, they're always there, and I think they're a very important critical element to our safety of our schools.
We have 1,100 licenses, and our goal is to train every single employee in the district.
Yes.
We just need to organize it so that we pull small groups at a time. But it'll be a 3-year process, but we will get everybody
And this
trained.
is why I'm bringing this up, because administrators are always up here at the DO in meetings. Who's the first one that reacts is the secretary.
Okay.
So if anyone should be trained, it should be the secretaries, at least to get the plan going. And then when the administrator shows up, he or she will have everything already
Okay.
planned.
I will make sure that in our process that we have them up in the top.
Yes, or
Okay.
make them a priority. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. We'll continue now with item J5. This will be board reports. These are informational reports by the board members. No action is taken. Mr. Ciro Calderon?
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming to our meeting. Last Wednesday, Mr. Gonzalez, when I went to the schools, and I went around to all the schools, and I believe it was the first or second. Actually, it was the second day that all the schools were enrolling kids and having sessions for the students that were going to be enrolling. So just to make sure that everybody knows, I was there not to supervise because as everybody should know, that's not my role here in this district. My role is to provide support and to make sure that everybody has all the tools necessary for you guys to to do your job. So I was there to make sure that everybody had what they needed. And fortunately, I can tell you, Mr. Gonzalez, that I went to all the school sites except Rockwood. No, Mains. I went to all the schools except Mains. And everybody had what they needed. Some schools were busier than others. Willie Moreno was really busy, but it was well taken care of. So everybody was. I talked to a couple of parents, and they seemed to be satisfied with the way that things were going. I spent most of the day at the high school. I did 3 visits to the high school on different times, and on those three different occasions, parents were being treated fairly, I should say. They had a couple of classrooms where they set up computers for them to retrieve their passwords, the other classrooms so they can start the process if they hadn't done anything. So it was well organized. So I was very pleased with what I saw. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Calderon. Mr. Lorenzo Calderon?
Yeah, good evening again to all of you, and thank you for being here tonight. I'll be brief. I hope that everyone had a good vacation. And all I could tell you is tonight we heard a lot of concerns. They're not in vain. They're noted. And as a board member, we'll look into them and deal with them accordingly. And that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Alvarado?
The same note, thanks everyone for showing up. Your comments, as Mr. Calderon stated, they will be, looked into. Not only that, teachers, staff, hopefully you guys enjoyed your guys' summer, and welcome back. That's pretty much it.
Thank you. Mr. Romero?
Thank you all for coming, and I know you've had a long day, and you still have the time to come here, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Very good. And myself, again, I think we heard a little bit about the welcome back at the gymnasium. Nice to see everyone in there. Many times we have our presentations are on academics or technology, but as Mr. Gonzalez shared, this one is kind of more special you're on special ed and inclusion and acceptance, which is a nice change. A lot of positive comments I heard from staff as I walked around the event there. What I also heard loudly also was the conference style. Just the way it's been organized was very well done. The use of the technology, the SCAD, reserving, the use of students, just very professional. And unlike a lot of other welcome back events in the Valley or even the state, this one was very well done. So just I want to acknowledge the staff, everyone that helped put that together. I also had the chance to walk a couple of schools, taking a look at things. I think this morning we were walking Maine's campus, Mr. Vega. I think we were at about 6:50, 7 o'clock. Just walking the campus, looking at sites, looking at facilities, looking at the pictures that were shared with us at our last board meeting, looking at it through the lens of facilities and Williams kind of an eye, but also looking at a lot of positives that we have at the sites. Tomorrow I'll have a chance to walk another school site, probably about 7 a.m. again while it's cool, before it gets too warm. But again, looking at what the work needs to be done, and there is a lot of work. We've heard that, and well, we'll talk about that later. But again, doing those site visits. we heard about the safety committee and our board members who are participating, which kind of reminds me, years ago, we used to have committees, subcommittees of the board, in accordance with the Brown Act and following procedures. We had facilities, I think, committee where board members sat on a subcommittee to provide feedback, and they would also come back to the general board to report out for action. We used to have a technology committee that would also participate in the activities, initiatives in the district, and that subcommittee board members, they would come back and share out with the board any items or updates. So as we talk about our safety committee, it might be something we want to consider, doing it properly and accordingly, just to help keep the board informed and keep us participating in the activities across the district. So something that we can think about and plan for. And I'll wrap it up with that. Let's move on to item K. This is discussion, possible action. We'll begin with K1, discussion and directions by board and maintenance and operations study by Joe Dixon regarding the organizational structure and related matters.
Thank you, President Castillo, board members, superintendent, and audience. First, I want to make sure that everybody knows that this is not a maintenance plan and it's not a facilities plan. It's an organizational plan, if any type of plan. It was a study of your maintenance and operations department in an attempt to provide you with options, and I'm going to make some recommendations at the end, to have a more efficient maintenance and operations department. And I taught maintenance and operations for 11 years. I teach in the cash maintenance certification program. I was a director of maintenance and operations, assistant superintendent of facilities, including maintenance and operations, and have worked with districts around the state. I firmly believe that these recommendations are going to help the district, and they'll be good for the employees as well. It always seems to work out that way. And so bear with me on what I'm going to talk about right now. Well, this thing doesn't work sometimes, right? There we go. Well, I said it before, maintenance actually contributes to student achievement, so well-maintained buildings help kids, and that's what we're all here for, so that's a good thing. And looking at how to do this is a good thing as well. So what I did is I took my presentation to you last week, and I put in red those items that I think the board, and at the end I'm going to ask you to come up with a consensus, if you will, to direct administration to start putting these things in motion. And I know some of it's going to take negotiations because your CBA has some language in there, your collective bargaining agreement. But a lot of these we can start now. So centralization of maintenance and operations, we talked about last time. There's a lot of efficiency to that. There's a lot of good ways to train. You can buy better equipment. It's just a better way to go than site-based in a district this size. If you're a district of 4 or less schools, then site-based works because everybody can communicate. And even some of those, I would say, should go to a centralized system. We're separating the director and supervisor since you have 2 management people in maintenance and operations. We're saying the director would manage the maintenance and grounds activities directly and evaluate them. To make sure that you have some redundancy within the department, because the director is not going to be there all the time, we're saying from within, promote a lead maintenance worker to keep work moving, be able to answer questions. Your supervisor position, again, you only have 2 management positions, would then supervise the night custodians. Actually be in charge of all custodial operations, but specifically supervise the night custodians at every site. The director, and so this report, we'd collect all the data, and we had been to all the schools by July 8th, and I understand now your director has left the district and you're looking for a new one. But we just want to make sure when you hire a new director that the expectation's clear, that they report to work at or before the rest of the maintenance folks are due to come to work, and the grounds people. They need to be the ones who supervise those people, direct the work that needs to be done for the day. And the same goes for your supervisor. The other management position would start the day prior to the start of the workday for evening custodians and go out to the sites routinely to supervise their work and to provide any help they might need and to move equipment around. There's a lot of things a night supervisor could do. So we remember we switched in the report. We were talking about 2-man crews. If we develop 3-man crews, there's some savings there with transportation with vehicles and with the equipment, and make sure that there's a schedule for each crew. That's really it on grounds. Again, move it to a centralized system as we talked about in the management part, but develop 3-man crews, and we could give you a sample schedule what that could look like. But again, once you get your director on board, I think it's really important to be collaborative with your employees and talk to them. And if there are concerns, see what those are and answer those concerns and those issues. It's a team. It's maintenance and operations as a team. So the custodial part, and remember in the report, you'll see we interviewed 4 principals at length, but we also talked to most of the principals, or at least assistant principals, at every site. We didn't feel any pushback at all about centralizing the custodials teams the way that we just talked about, but I still think it's important to pilot it at an elementary and at a middle school. Excuse me. Schedules. So when you look in the report, you'll see for custodians, you're right over the cusp of what the National Center for Education Statistics maximum square footage per custodian is, just right over. But before you and the district go out and hire more people, you have to get it organized. You have to get this centralized thing going. You have to have schedules, and let's see how it's working. It's going to be a lot different than what you're experiencing now, I can guarantee you. Every custodian's going to have pretty much the same schedule. The high school, again, we talked about it. You have 4 people working during the day, more working during the day than at night. And some of them have different types of tasks to complete. But it's important to have the school clean. I think we all agree with that. And the cleaning takes place at night. It's hard to clean the school during the day. There are some things you can do. So I've had really big high schools like Calexico High School. Santa Ana High School had over 4,000 kids. Doesn't now, but in 2008 they did. It works to have this, and the schools get cleaner. And the end result is kids, staff, community takes more pride in the school. A clean school is paramount to students and student achievement. And this is the way that you should go. In the maintenance area, not up here, but I talked about it before, not part of our review is transportation. You do need to fix the lack of bus drivers so that the maintenance folks can concentrate on maintaining the schools. When they come into work and are told you're going to be driving today, it's really hard to come up with some kind of a planned maintenance system when you don't know who's going to be there, if they're going to be there, on a daily basis. So that needs to be fixed. But every maintenance tradesperson should be given their work and work orders by the director every day. Every day. That's important that they do that. I didn't put it in red. I think this is a simple thing. Just tell them, look, if you're out at a site and you're a plumber and you're doing plumbing and there's more plumbing to be done, go ahead and do it. Unless there's an emergency somewhere else, do it. Keep at task, keep working, take care of the schools. And then every day, work orders have to be turned in and entered into the work order system, the hours, the materials used. That's going to help significantly when we get to the point, and we're not there, we're quite a ways away from there, to come up with a planned maintenance system or a comprehensive maintenance system, because you need to know how often HVAC unit number 6 at Dual breaks down, and that's in your work order system. So that's just so important. And nothing in red there, but here's what I'm offering to the board. To reach a consensus, and I don't know, Counselor, how this works on the agenda, but to reach a consensus on those highlighted recommendations, and then the board president, as the leader of the board, directs the administration to implement the highlighted recommendations. And then I would also recommend that you receive some type of monthly update on the progress. That will keep the board informed of how it's working. And as you get into the centralized part, we start bringing in more components of the study. That's it. So I'm sure there's questions or concerns, and if I can answer them, I'd be more than happy to.
Any questions from board members?
You're stating that the director will supervise the maintenance and ground activities directly, and the supervisor will just handle the custodial?
Correct.
Does that make, I mean, I'm not sure that makes sense to me. If you figure the director is in charge of the entire department, and then his second in command is a supervisor.
That's correct. So the director is in charge of maintenance and operations.
Right.
He's not evaluating the custodians, or he or she is not evaluating the custodians, the supervisor is. But the director is evaluating the supervisor and watching their work.
But here you're saying the director manages the maintenance and grounds activities directly versus the supervisor doing that.
I think that what he's saying, the supervisor would go to the 10.
Exactly, yeah.
Supervise all the custodians at night and the custodians during the day.
So therefore, currently, I think the supervisor comes in at 5 in the morning. So you're saying that now they should come in at 2 to handle all the custodial staff, the night custodial staff.
Correct. Yep. Truly believe somebody has to supervise the night custodians. And the way you're structured now, and from my review of the job description, you can do that.
Do other school districts have this method in place?
Sure. So typically in a larger district, let me start with a larger district, you'll have the director of M&O and you'll have a supervisor of either operations, which includes grounds, and a supervisor of maintenance. And so the director in a larger district would only supervise or evaluate those direct reports. Right. Smaller districts, it's all over the place. In some districts, there's a unit member quasi-supervising the night custodians, but they can't evaluate. They're in the union, and they can't do that. You have to have a manager do the evaluations.
Mr. Dixon,
Yes.
where does Calexico fall in this? You say large districts, small districts. Where does Calexico? Where do you see Calexico?
Well, so small districts are described as 2,500 students or less.
Mhm.
You're right in the middle.
Okay.
You're right in the middle. I mean, there's the giants out there,
Yes,
LA,
yes.
San Diego, Long Beach. 10,000 kids is right in the middle. Maybe even 10,000 might be a little high for the middle. There's over 1,000 school districts in California. The greatest number of them are less than 2,500 kids.
Other comments?
I know one thing I am concerned about is the lack of equipment the staff doesn't have, and that's very concerning. I think we need to come up, set out with a list of what is it that they need so that they could do their job. I mean, how can we expect them to do their job if we don't give them the tools?
So, thank you. That's a great question, Mr. Romero. So as you know, over the last few months, we have purchased some newer equipment, a backhoe, some scissors lift. We have purchased already some equipment. We have already gone out and bid for new maintenance vehicles. The results will come at the next board meeting. So we are being proactive in getting the equipment that these employees need. That's something that I have already budgeted for some maintenance vehicles in this year's budget. So part of this plan is already, when it comes to equipment, is already in the works. So we have been proactive since the beginning of the year.
Okay, I think I read somewhere, can't locate it right now, that they're not being trained. Is that correct? Like we give teachers training, but we're not giving these employees.
Because of the site-based part, there's a couple of things with training. There should be an annual training, and I want to talk a little bit about the Williams, the reviews, the Williams reviews and things like that. We always trained our folks that anything to do with Williams was a top priority, and the custodians were responsible to report those. That's part of the training. Other training on cleaning, sometimes it could take place during the summer. It can take place district-wide. When the students aren't in school, you can pull them out for a couple hours. As a centralized system, you would have the ability to do that. So the training, it becomes easier and it becomes more focused when it's a centralized system with one person responsible for it.
Thank you.
Mr. Dixon, obviously this is the initial recommendation here, but you also mentioned that there's other phases of this. How many more phases is it going to require to have Calexico in a situation where they're getting their training, their equipment's good, and so forth?
Well, can I take a few minutes to answer that?
Sure.
Because, all of these, I believe, are really important to do, and there's going to have to be some logical way that they fold in. A lot of it's going to depend on your new director or executive director position that you hire, and making sure that they're following this as well. So let's, if we look at after-hours emergencies, that could be the director and some other folks within the district, Mr. Vega, I'm sure, and other, administrators. Let's work on how that's going to work and that policy. All of that should be folded into a standard operating procedure manual. Again, that's working with the director. But we can load them up on a whole bunch of examples of what to use. That staff development part, that's up to you folks. If you want to send your supervisor, anybody else from M&O to go to one of those. If you don't go to that, CASBO has some programs, I'm sure, and workshops. Your work order system, again, I think you should do an RFP as soon as you get your new director and change it. Again, school dude, what you have is the gold standard. but it's technical. It's really hard to operate. And as we walked around your schools and talked to your clerical staff and principals of the schools, they have no idea how to pull their own work orders. The high school principal was on the computer while I was trying to help her, and I'm not good at school, dude, but one of the people that work for me was, they can't. Anyway, so that can take place. Quarterly M&O meetings are simple to do, and hopefully the board will take a look at having a review of your civic center, because your use of facilities impacts maintenance significantly. So that's going to take a little time. These things are simple, really, on this sheet. You know, you have to get the right mowers, and Mr. Vega's working on getting some larger mowers for your big fields. We can assign the high school crew right away, but again, you need your director on board because he's going to supervise them. And then he can also put in a standard operating procedure manual some of these things like irrigation, test irrigation every month at every school, every system. And the evaluations can take place if the board approves that, and we move forward with the new director for that part. So a lot of it's going to fall into place really quick with your new director. Should. There's no reason why it wouldn't. And then the custodial's pretty much all right away. You get moving on that. Excuse me. The last one is going to depend on your negotiations process, because it's in your collective bargaining agreement who supervises, who evaluates the custodians. And a lot of these, as soon as the director comes on board, should be able to get moving on. The development of a standardized list of equipment and systems could take some time, because we're talking about every system and component of the school on a spreadsheet, and we have some examples in the back how they did it in Lake Elsinore, which looks complicated, but it's not. It's a spreadsheet with roofing, HVAC, the whole building envelope, right? How old it is, what condition it is. More, Mr. Calderon, than preventive. It's planned. Preventive is more of changing filters, and here's a life expectancy of a rooftop HVAC package unit is 18 years. This one's 17 years old. We might have to start planning when it hits 18 of replacing it and put a cost in there. And it's really neat. It all rolls up to give Mr. Vega and Mr. Gonzalez a budget for maintenance. And it doesn't mean you have to replace it. If it's still working, you can just roll it into the next year. Anyway, that could take a while. We did put a couple of pages in the back of a key policy that you could initiate. One for site staff. Make whoever's getting keys sign for them, and make the schools responsible, and the school principal responsible for their school. And then the other ones, if you have contractors, Mr. Dominguez wants some keys, he has to sign for it. And we put some costs. So that could be done quickly as well. Sorry, it took a long time to answer that question. That's an important question.
It's good that you're actually telling our public. I spent a lot of years in the prison, so I know what you're telling me, especially keys.
As an employee.
As an employee. Let me get that right. As an employee, so I know about maintenance.
I thought so.
I know about work orders, priority of work orders, and so forth. So I understand that.
Excellent.
And reason I was trying you to tell us is because the public should know what is at stake here.
Right.
So, I mean, because it's no secret that our facilities are falling apart. However, if we have some control, we can prioritize not only as a board, but as maintenance and everybody fixing these problems.
Right.
And I understand that, but I wanted the public to know, and our citizens that are out there, that it's important. It's important to follow through when we have an issue. Whether it could be, a lawnmower to a vehicle or anything else, a roof and so forth.
Right. Well, and thank you for explaining that. That's good to know.
And I think you undersold yourself of what you do out there in our community. I think you are a good resource to everybody out there.
Well, thank you.
I did some research on you, and you do a lot of things out there, so thank you.
Thanks.
You did some reference checks there?
Yes.
Absolutely.
He's the true one. That's good to hear.
That's good to hear.
I don't have an alias.
All right.
Well, thank you for the report.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Dix, I got some comments too. So
Yes,
thank you
sir.
again for coming back a second time. Board members have good, relevant questions, and I think the report, we've had some time to read through it since your first presentation. We've had some time to let it soak in, look into things. And just I myself, since you presented it to us, reading through it, looking at the sites, looking at the pictures, honestly, I felt it was embarrassing, I think, to look at some of the conditions of the sites. We've got good facilities, we know that. But we've got some areas that need some attention, some help. I think the plan you shared with us, you enlightened us on facilities here. Again, I think thoughts I had, and it was shared earlier, we as a district have been more reactive than proactive. We're working behind, we're trying to fix things when they happen. We're not planning ahead. I think this document and recommendations help us turn things around. So frankly, we heard it earlier, shame on us as a board over the years to let these things start falling through the cracks. But I think we have the opportunity to turn things around from this point on to really assist our educational classrooms, our sites, our facilities, our employees, the equipment and all. There's some guidance on developing new systems here, procedures, accountability, centralizing services, standardizing, I think, is key. Some things that I'm interested in, and maybe as a district, we've done the fit assessments over the years, so I'd be interested in looking at those later, just out of curiosity. You've mentioned you've got recommendations on one page, page 5, that you shared with us, and those are the ones you shared up here. In some of the following pages, there are some other recommendations. Maybe there are sub-recommendations. Inventory of equipment, tools, as Mr. Romero shared. We
Right.
need to know what we have and what we don't have, what's broken,
Correct.
and then develop a plan.
Right.
So that was a recommendation, but not here, but maybe that's a sub-recommendation. You talked about the key inventory, a handbook for all staff across the district as we
Right.
standardize. Preventative maintenance plan, and that we probably have not had in a while. And that's where we're lacking, is we're talking about being proactive. So I think this direction it will benefit the district. I think we can turn things around with funding, of course. It always takes funding.
But let me give you, let me say
Go ahead.
something here. It's important, especially, like, for example, the count of our buses. Look what's happening out in our communities today. We need to know how many buses we have available to evacuate kids if we have to at a spur of a moment. And I bet you I can ask someone right now in maintenance, they don't know how many. It's important to know that. How many backhoes we have in case we have an earthquake and we need to take kids out of, do you understand where I'm getting at? Know what you have in the event that you need it, especially the buses. Because I know we have about 20 buses here. And 12? Well, but
Yeah.
that they're available at a spare moment. When the police chief and everybody shows up and you need to evacuate, they're there. But if someone that doesn't know and we don't have inventory, we're gonna be like,
Sure.
lost.
So
And it falls on us because it starts here. If we don't do anything today,
Sure.
then
So on that comment, if I can add, I'm sure we've got the emergency EFIM reports, ECIF
Okay.
reports that document the number of buses, gyms, facilities,
Yeah.
showers, toilets at each church. So we have those. Backhoes, we already have that. We do. And
From here?
emergency service in Heber as well? OES should have a copy as well.
All right.
For those emergencies, they need to know what we have here. And they have those documents.
All right. Where can you get that report? I'd like to see it.
District office should
All right.
have them, school sites should have them. Alvaro. Alvaro's there.
All right.
Alvaro Ramirez,
Yeah.
police officer. So he'll be coordinating it for the county and the schools. Okay? So yeah, we do have those documents.
All right.
All right. You watch okay? So Cito would like us to move on, so that's fine. That's fine. Oh, you're looking at a time? You have a suggestion?
I'd like to set this meeting until 10 o'clock,
Thank-
10:30.
Thank you for keeping an eye on first and second. These are good discussions. All in favor? All right, we'll continue. Thank you, Mr. Cito.
So what is the direction as far as the plan?
So as a board, any directions, how we like to proceed?
Well, I think we have to give direction as to Carlos to come up with a plan, correct?
Oh, I think we have a plan.
How this is going to be implemented,
implement.
correct?
Well,
That's how it works.
My understanding is that your recommendation will be based on what you have before you, the plan that was submitted, and from there, depending on what you approve, we can come up with a timeline as to how things are going to evolve.
That's where it sits.
Mhm.
So therefore, for custodial, we're gonna try a pilot program and centralize it with one elementary and one middle school, right? That's a recommendation. Okay, I'm not too happy about that, but I'm willing to give it a try. So I move that we support the recommendations as shown on page 5 and page 7.
Recommendations.
Yeah. The recommendations shown in this report. That's my motion.
So first, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Alvarado. We have plenty of discussion. I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'll abstain.
Thank you. And I'm an aye. Mr. Cito's out of the room, so there's no vote there. Motion passes
By
3,
three.
1 abstention, and 1 absence. You got that? Okay.
May I ask a clarification of Mr. Dixon?
Yes, sir.
And it may be that I just am ignorant of the contents of the report. Are you suggesting that there be new job descriptions for the director and supervisor?
No. The current job description, you can do what I put in there with the current job descriptions. Supervisor position can supervise whatever they're directed to supervise within the department.
But the district does have the option of adopting new job descriptions as well.
Do they have the option to
Right.
change them?
Right.
Sure, but you don't have to on those two.
But it would be changing hours.
There's
Or
no
is it
hours
change the
listed
schedule?
for
It's
the
not
supervisor
scheduled? No?
who would, well, the director, quite frankly, should have been coming in earlier
Yeah.
anyway, but whatever. But
I agree.
there's nothing in the supervisor description that has hours or job conditions that would be changed, so.
All right.
All right.
You're looking quizzical, but I read it, and it's pretty clear.
So, Mr. Wilder, you can look into that if you,
Okay.
makes you feel better.
Well, I also have another question, maybe again for my ignorance, which I will admit to. The supervisor who supervises the custodians, you're suggesting the supervisor arrive before the custodians arrive or at the same time and be there the whole time. But
Correct.
if they arrive at 5 o'clock in the morning and there's night custodians that have a full shift.
No.
That's what I don't understand.
I specifically said night custodians.
Okay.
Although they're responsible for all custodians, the ones that the night, or the supervisor evaluates, he's there with them. Now, there could be occasions where they come in earlier in the day to help solve problems, that happen during the day, and so their schedule is flexible. But primarily, they come in from 2 to 10:30, or 11, 2 to 11, 1:30 to 11. Look, maintenance and operations managers, I don't know very many that work 8 hours. I don't know very many that work 10 hours. It's a big job. It could be 10-hour days, it could be 11-hour days.
Thank you.
It's, seriously, it's a big job. That's an important job. Well, you know, principals work a lot of hours as well.
Yeah.
All right.
That's,
That comes with the game.
you know, and some days maybe they can work 6 hours, you know, it's.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon.
Thank you.
Mr. Weiler, your questions are not billable minutes, all right? Those are from you. Yeah. Let's continue. Item L, action items. Consideration and action approval of the following items. We'll begin with item L1, sunshining initial proposal to ACT. And if I can just say something before anything else. So, because I know we have some ACT members here. So, again, I think the board, we want to thank you guys for being here, for being present, being involved. You know, we do see you. We do see your presence. We do acknowledge that. This, I think, sunshining is the start of negotiations. We cannot negotiate here in public. ACT knows that. We know that. But it begins the negotiation process. By no means is this the end. I think you're interested, we're interested in a win-win situation. I'd be interested in resolving this as quickly as possible as well. But I think, I'll speak for myself and for the board, we want to do this professionally. And again, by no means is this is the start of the negotiations, not the end. And I'll keep it simple with that. But again, thank you guys for being here and for staying till this point in time. So with this item, L1, other comments, actions, questions?
You summed it up good.
Thank you. Direction? I'll make a motion with the sunshine initial proposal to ACT.
Second.
First and a second by Mr. Romero. Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. We'll continue with item L2, sunshining of initial CSEA proposal to negotiate an agreement with CUSD.
I move that we approve the initial sunshine.
So first by Mr. Romero to approve sunshine, CSEA. Second? Second by Mr. Alvarado. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Continue with item L3. This is a resolution authorizing issuance of second series of Measure V bonds in the amount of $9 million for facilities improvement projects and approving all related documents and actions. Is there any, we need some information?
So this is the capacity we currently have, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I move we approve.
I'll second that.
A motion by Mr. Romero, second by Mr. Alvarado. Any discussion or questions?
Well, I have a question.
Go ahead,
These
Mr.
9 mil, where are they going? Are they going to be used to finish A2 and A3?
That is correct. Yes, so this is to complete B1, A2, but mostly A3, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions?
No.
Thank you. Call for the question. This is a resolution vote. All right, so we begin with Mr. Ciro Calderon.
Aye.
Mr. Lorenzo Calderon.
Aye.
Mr. Alvarado.
Aye.
Mr. Romero.
Yes.
Myself, yes. That's 5 on the resolution. Continue with item L. This is an agreement between the Calexico Unified School District and Emerson College for Clinical Learning Experience in Speech Program effective July 25th, 2019 to July 25th, 2024.
So
So-
moved.
So
Second.
motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon, second by Mr. Alvarado. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Aye.
passes 5-0. Thank you. Moving on to item L5. This is an agreement between the Calexico Unified School District and Bradman University for August 1st, 2019 to July 31st, 2021 for multiple subject, single subject, and educational specialist internship credential.
So moved.
Second.
There was motion by, first by who? Mr. Lorenzo Calderon, second by Mr. Romero. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item L6. This is an agreement between the Calexico Unified School District and Franklin Covey for professional development training for the Leader in Me.
Who can tell us a little bit about what it is? This is?
Yeah, so
Is it-
this is being the program that is ongoing, and this is a program that's ongoing at Jefferson Elementary School. Very effective program. That's bought in by the whole staff, and so it's a program that teaches leadership skills, character skills. Very effective. So they're bringing it back to continue implementing it.
Okay.
I move we approve.
I'll second.
There's a motion by Mr. Romero, second by Mr. Alvarado. Any other questions?
No, the only
Go ahead.
comment I have is that this is the second year they have this training, or how long has it been?
Correct, second year.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, we approve a lot of these leadership programs and everything, and maybe in some time that someone should come and tell us, well, it's working.
Sure.
And if it works for Jefferson, it might work for the other 6 elementaries, you know what I mean?
Right, okay.
So,
Good
just,
comment.
yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Other comments? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Move on to item L7. This is an agreement between the Calexico Unified School District and San Diego State University for student teaching for 2019 through 2024 school year.
Second.
So motion by Mr. Calderon, Mr. Lorenzo Calderon, a second by Mr. Alvarado. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to item L8. This is an agreement between the Calexico Unified School District and Bright Bytes, Inc. for the 2019-2020 school year for data analytics platform which measures and links technology use in education and learning outcomes.
I move we approve.
So motion by Mr. Romero, second by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon. Questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item L9, agreement renewal between Calexico Unified School District and document tracking services for license and other services related to the single plan of student achievement for the 2019-2020 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon, second by Mr. Alvarado. Comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. L10, agreement between the Calexico Unified School District and Hooflin Mifflin Harcourt Publishing Company to purchase the Hooflin Mifflin Harcourt Read 180 hosting renewals for 2019-2020.
What was that again?
Don't ask. It's called,
So moved. So moved.
Second.
never mind.
Gotta have some fun.
There was a first by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon, second by Mr. Alvarado. Any questions? Nope. Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Won't have to say that for a year, right? L11.
It's on record.
Contract between the Calexico Unified School District and Naviance for college and career-ready platform and student personalized success plans for 2019-20 school year.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. L12, memorandum of understanding between the Calexico Unified School District and Sandy Hook Promise Foundation on implementing school safety teams to identify, assess, and respond to threats.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Romero. Comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. L13, memorandum of understanding between the Calexico Unified School District and the Hispanic Heritage Foundation to provide up to 4 code as second language boot camps during the 2019-2020 school year.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon.
Second.
Second by Mr. Alvarado. Comments? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item L14, memorandum of understanding between the Calexico Unified School District and the Imperial County Office of Education to provide comprehensive support and improvement, CSI, support and additional targeted support and improvement, technical support to the staff at Aurora High School during the 2019-2020 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon, second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. L15, a memorandum of understanding between the Calexico Unified School District and the Imperial County Office of Education to provide comprehensive support and improvement supports to the staff members at Dual Elementary School during the 2019-2022 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon, second by Mr. Alvarado. Questions?
No,
All those-
just comments.
Comment, please.
Finally, the county's paying for this, all right? This training.
I can't answer that.
Well, I'm just letting you know. Just
clarification?
Yeah,
I know,
so,
that was a clue. I already checked, that's why.
yeah, so, yeah, there's money allocated specifically for this, yeah.
All right.
Just, it's not coming from our budget.
It's the state allocated funding.
And frankly, we don't want the money, but we're getting it. So, any other comments? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item L16, this is a memorandum of understanding between the Calexico Unified School District and the San Joaquin County Office of Education for programming and maintenance of integrated components and services.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon,
Second.
second by Mr. Romero. Other comments? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. L17, approval of the Agricultural Career Technical Education Incentive Grant for 2019-20 school year.
So, second.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon. Comments? Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item L18, textbook adoption for grades 9 through 12, next generation standards.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon, second by Mr. Alvarado. Comments? My only comment, again, just want
Expensive books.
always expensive. Confirming our teachers were involved and
Yes.
agreed and support?
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
They're approved of.
Yes. Just want to get on record. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. L19, first reading of revised board policy and administrative regulation 6174, education for English learners.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon, second by Mr. Alvarado. Comments? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. L20, first reading of revised board policy and administrative regulation 3513.1, tobacco-free schools.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon. Comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. L21, first reading of revised board policy 4020, drug and alcohol-free workplace.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. L22, first reading of revised board policy and administrative regulation 3311, business and non-instructional operations.
So moved.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Romero,
What?
second by Mr. Alvarado. Comments?
This is, can someone, it's an increase, correct? Or,
Mr. Vega, will- quick update.
Yes, so as you recall, a couple of months ago, you passed the California Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act. So that allows us to have higher limits when it comes to bidding for construction projects, maintenance projects. So this is aligning, this policy aligns with that resolution.
so it goes what, from 200?
From 15 to 60,000 before we have to go out and bid. So and then from 60 to 200, we have some wiggle room in there to select from a list of vendors, and then anything over that, then we have to go out and bid.
Okay, all right.
Any other comments or questions? All right, call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Item L23, second reading of revised board policy and administrative regulation 6162.51, standardized testing and reporting program.
So moved.
So motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon,
Second.
second by Mr. Alvarado. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Item L24, this is a denial of claim for Delia Garcia versus CUSD.
So moved.
So motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon,
Second.
second by Mr. Alvarado. Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. L25, variable term waivers for certificated personnel, speech pathologist for 2019-2020 school year.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon,
Second.
second by Mr. Romero. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0. Item L26, this is a variable term waiver, 2019-2020 school year for Howard C. Fitchell.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lorenzo
Second.
Calderon, second by Mr. Alvarado. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0. L27, assignment outside of major for 2019-2020 school year with teachers' consent.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon, second by Mr. Alvarado. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. L28, this is a resolution of delegation of authority to pay and sign proper legal bills, billings, invoices, and orders under specific limitations.
So moved.
Go ahead.
Can you give us some information on this?
Yes, so right now, anything over $200,000, we need board approval. Remember, we have Measure B projects now that are coming down the pipe with major payments that need to be made in the vicinity of $500,000. So we're asking the board for approval so that we can expedite payments as the projects are being completed, so that we can, pay according to, the terms and conditions of the contract.
The limit is
200, so we're asking for flexibility to go up to 500,000.
And then you'll be showing us that.
Oh, absolutely. You will have all the
ratifying later.
backup and everything, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Other question? Oh.
so moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Romero, second by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
It's a resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Mr. Ciro Calderon.
Aye.
Mr. Lorenzo Calderon. Mr. Alvarado.
Aye.
Mr. Romero.
Yes.
Myself, yes. That's 5 on the resolution. L29, another resolution regarding disposition of surplus asset, non-asset vehicles
So moved.
at M&O Department. So motion by Mr. Lorenzo Calderon,
Second.
second by Mr. Romero. Questions? All those in favor? Or resolution again? Thank you. Mr. Ciro Calderon.
Aye.
Mr. Lorenzo, Mr. Alvarado.
Aye.
Mr. Romero.
Yes.
Myself, yes, that's 5 on the resolution. L30, another resolution regarding disposition of surplus asset, non-asset custodial equipment at M&O Department.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Resolution?
Right here.
Resolution again.
It's L3.
Oh,
30.
L30, resolution.
Right here, second.
First and second. Resolution, Mr. Ciro,
Aye.
Mr. Lorenzo Calderon,
Aye.
Mr. Alvarado,
Aye.
Mr. Romero.
Yes.
And myself, yes, that's 5 on the resolution. L31, resolution regarding disposition of surplus asset, non-asset office furniture at the district office.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Mr. Alvarado first, Mr. Lorenzo Calderon second. Questions? Nope. Mr. Ciro Calderon,
Aye.
Mr. Lorenzo Calderon.
Aye.
Mr. Alvarado,
Aye.
Mr. Romero.
Yes.
Myself, yes, that's 5 on the resolution. L32, resolution regarding disposition of surplus asset, non-asset technology equipment at Willie Moreno Junior High School.
So moved.
So first by Mr.
Second.
Lorenzo Calderon, second Mr. Alvarado. Questions? Mr. Ciro Calderon,
Aye.
Mr. Lorenzo Calderon,
Aye.
Mr. Alvarado,
Aye.
Mr. Romero.
Yes.
Myself, yes, that's 5 on the resolution. So, at this time, nothing, we're going to do that, right? The board is going to reconvene into earlier closed session. Continue our discussions. Very good. Thank you.